All right, let's get started. Well, good afternoon or good morning, wherever you are in the country today. Welcome to our Division III April webinar. I'm happy to be your presenter today to talk about our D3 diversity grants. My name is Lamar Pottinger. I serve as the Director of Leadership Development here at the NCAA and the grant administrator for all of the three grants that I will discuss during this webinar. During this webinar, I'll go over PowerPoint slides, but you all should have gotten the email directly to you with the slides. They're already available on the D3 webinars page on ncaa.org, and a recording will be available by the end of this week from this webinar as well. I will go through my slides, but if you have questions during the presentation, there will be a time for question and answers at the end. There's a Q&A function at the top of your screen. So if you want to put those questions during the presentation or wait until I conclude, we will address those questions as needed. All right. So just for our agenda here today, we're going to really be simple, but also provide you all with a lot of detail surrounding the three diversity grants and really educate you on what they are, how to go about applying for them, and the process to receive a grant. And then the most important reason of the grant is the why, right? Why are we here? Why do we have the diversity grants? And why is it important that we continue this initiative with the diversity grants? So let's start off with what? So we have three diversity grants within Division III, approximately 2 million, a little north of 2 million now that we distribute annually to these three grants. I'll go grant by grant here just to give you a high level overview of the grant. You also have an opportunity to go a little bit more in detail at our grant guidelines on ncaa.org for scholarships and grants. You can search for Division III grants, and it'll give you the full layout of all of the guidelines and policies regarding the three grants that we have here. So first, we have the D3 Strategic Alliance Matching Grant. This grant is for full-time to mid to senior level administrators over a 5-year commitment. So usually we've seen anywhere from a director level to an assistant AD. Those are the applications that are usually moved forward within the org chart, primarily reporting at least to maybe a deputy AD or the AD as well. So when we think about mid to senior level administrators, those are some of the titles that we've seen that have moved forward to be successful. From an NCAA standpoint, this is a 3-year commitment for us as far as funding the grant, and then the remaining 2 years out of that 5-year commitment will be fully funded by the institution or conference office. The NCAA will fund 75% in year 1, 50% in year 2, and then 25% in year 3, and that covers salary, wages, and benefits, as well as providing professional development and technology funds to the hired recipient. In year 1, you would get $1,500 for professional development and then $1,000 for technology funds. Usually technology funds could be for a laptop, a tablet, maybe for another mobile device, help with those type of things. Maybe a software that's needed for the role that you apply for. So just a few examples there. And then the professional development would be all 3 years of us funding the grant of the $1,500. And that could be a number of different things, everything from different conferences, conventions that are related to the role, or there's been different opportunities to either engage with a mentor or more senior level administrators, ADs, commissioners from more of what we call maybe a professional development trip to get more knowledge and expertise from those individuals, all right? Our ethnic minorities and women's internship grant is a 2-year grant that we fund each year. These are more entry-level positions, so you're more coordinators, maybe an assistant director, maybe an assistant to the athletic director. Those are some of the titles that we've had in the past. But these are grants that are for 2 years. Again, NCAA will fund a good portion of the salary, and then we ask the institution or conference to provide in-kind gift of $5,000. So that can include housing, meals, cell phone stipend, maybe extra benefits, maybe an additional amount of salary or stipend to that individual. A number of different things could come into that, but the minimum requirement that total has to come up to is $5,000. The NCAA will provide $30,000 in salary and wages. And then this grant for those 2 years will have $3,000 each year for professional development as well, right? So the same thing applies for this grant as far as professional development, different conferences, conventions, or something that's related to the role to enhance this individual's professional growth or personal growth in that regard. Our last grant here that we'll go over here is our coaching enhancement grant, which is a 2-year grant funding full-time assistant coach positions. We always get the question, does this fund strength coaches? And yes, this would help with working with applying for a strength coach as well as an assistant coach for one of your sport teams here, right? So each year we provide $7,500 to the institutions, and then we also provide again a professional development stipend of $1,500 to the recipients. The coaching enhancement grant, we ask that the institutions match what the NCAA gives. That way it helps with the salary overall with these coaches. We realize a lot of the coaches sometimes within your institutions may be part-time, but for this position right here, we want them to be a full-time assistant coach, really to be able to increase not just the diversity within your institution, but also making sure that for that NCAA sponsored sport, those student athletes have another full-time assistant coach to provide to their student athlete experience into your season or seasons while this coaching enhancement grant is going on. Through these 3 grants, the ultimate goal is to increase not just diversity, but increase the amount of administrators and coaches we have within Division III, right? So we only fund a certain amount of years of these grants. We love it when we see institutions that will step up and find the financial needs and resources to then fund these positions well beyond what the NCAA has contributed to the grants. So how can you apply? How can you get it? All the things on how. Ironically enough, we just wrapped up our selection process for our 2024 cycle. So those individuals have been notified and will start the process to hire their individuals this spring and summer, and then they will get their first distribution of funding in September. The proposal and the timeline is each year the same. So it starts in September, more dates to come at a later time, but it opens in September and it closes in January to give you all enough time to figure out, what type of position you want, what needs to go into the application, who do you need to contact on your campus to get approval or get buy-in for this position, do the right level of reorging or restructure within your athletics department or conference office to be able to make sure that if you get the grant, you're ready to receive it and onboard those individuals as well. So about 4 to 5 months, you all get to open the application, see what it's like, and then go to get ready to apply for that position. One thing I would say is, this being April, it's always good to start earlier with the process and start those conversations. This webinar is very intentional right now in April to talk about, okay, what does this look like for FY25, right? So when the fiscal year ends for most of us in July or July 1, right, starting to think about what does it look like now for us to think about the next fiscal year if we need to provide that in-kind gift, or if we need to supplement a certain percentage of the Strategic Alliance matching grant, or if we need to match for the coaching enhancement grant as well. So for those of you joining today, you have a head start, and I would recommend that you all really go deeper into the guidelines to figure out, okay, how can we be proactive to get this grant in April of 2025. What happens as far as the timeline, the grant will close in January of 2025. We then have the selection committee, which is from the D3 membership, usually an AD, someone on administration, conference office, maybe a current coach if it's on the coaching enhancement grant, individuals that have received the grant before or have been a recipient or hired employee themselves are all part of this committee that helps select and then award the grant to those recipients. That process is usually around February to March, and then we make the selections, like I said, at the end of March, usually before the first week of April, and notify those individuals. The details here that I'm going to give you all just as a bonus for you joining here. When you're looking at the application or the proposal process, a lot of times, individuals within our space may get intimidated by just the word grant in general, right? I'm here to tell you that if you do have a grants or scholarships office on your campus and you have a grant writer, that's great. And, you can utilize those individuals, but it's not needed. You don't need a grant writer to complete the application. The application is literally what it is. It's an application. You have to provide the job description. You have to provide a number of different answers to questions. You have to provide an org chart of what your current organization looks like, and then an org chart of what the hired individual, where they will fall at. And then you really have to articulate the financial pieces that you'll contribute to the individual that is hired. Successful grants provide, or successful applications provide a lot of details on the purpose of the position and provide a really clear job description, right? So we all know that there's no shortage of money that we need within our industry. However, the purpose of this grant is to enhance diversity within the Division III membership, right? So being able to articulate that why, in addition to maybe some of the financial needs and how this individual or individuals can impact the student athlete experience in addition to increasing the diversity. So having a really well thought out, articulate why you're applying for the position always goes a long way with our selection committee. The other piece here is providing really, I'll say the word, creative financial assistance outside of the salary. Again, we know that institutions have their budgets and have their limitations. However, what you all bring to the table as far as how you'll support the individual that's hired goes a long way with us as well, right? You don't need to match a $30,000 salary for an entry-level position. However, what can you do to make the quality of life for that individual, if it's speaking to the internship grant, better, right? Inflation is not stopping, and the cost of living in different states fluctuates each year. So whether it's housing, whether it's meals, whatever can contribute to that quality of life, so that that individual is bringing home their salary and maybe doesn't have to worry as much about a certain expense with their lifestyle, could go a certain way. So if you have the opportunity to be creative on campus, within your institutions or conference offices, I would recommend that you think about that and figure out a way to go above the $5,000 when thinking about the internship grant. The Strategic Alliance Matching Grant really goes the same way. We know that, we'll provide a certain percentage each year, but also, what does that starting salary look like, right? So if we're providing a certain percentage, are you able to provide a salary that's competitive, but within alignment and equity of your athletics department, institution, conference, etc., to then attract those individuals to then come work for you as well. Okay. Last part here, which has been articulated throughout the slides here, is really, again, to enhance ethnic minorities and gender representation within athletics and administration and coaching within the Division III membership, right? We are in year 22, I believe, of the internship grant. We're in, I believe, year 4 or 5 of the coaching enhancement grant. And off the top of my head, I don't know the Strategic Alliance Matching Grant, but a lot of years have been put into these grants. And I know right now of 6 ADs that have started with the Ethnic Minorities and Internship Grant, and now are a Division III athletic director, right? There's at least 2 conference commissioners that have been a part of one of their Strategic Alliance Matching Grants, or the Ethnic Minorities and Internship Grants as well. So it's a really great opportunity that each year we get to hire or bring on to the Division III membership upwards to 35 individuals between the 3 grants to continue to, like I said, enhance the gender representation and ethnic minority representation within Division III, but also to continue to bring individuals into the space of Division III, right? So if you think about 30, 35 multiplied by 20, right, that's already a lot of individuals bringing in Division III. And then hopefully, like I mentioned before, you all will take on the responsibility to help retain those individuals, not just at your institutions and conferences, but within Division III membership as well. So what I want to do now is leave enough time here to be able to answer as many questions as you all have. Once again, if you have questions, there is a question and answer icon at the top of your screen. If you click on that button and type out your questions in the chat, I'll be able to see them. And my colleague Katie will assist with either answering them with me or I'll be able to verbally answer them for you all. So once again, any questions you all have, at the top of your screen, you should see a Q&A icon to be able to type those questions in there. So I'll give you all just a little bit of time to find that and then ask any questions.
Lamar, we have one question that just popped in there. And you might know what this is, or we can get some clarification from the asker. But the question is, would this program offer any grant funding to a D3 school JEDI program, JEDI program?
I'm not familiar with the JEDI program, so I'm not sure if you want to elaborate maybe a little bit on that.
Yep. Justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion. There you go.
This program offer any grant funding?
Lamar, it looks like did you get that? JEDI, Justice, Equity,
yes,
Diversity,
I got it.
Inclusion.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm not, to my knowledge, we don't have any exclusion to any Division III school that would not be able to receive the grant. So my initial answer is yes, the grant would be awarded to a Division III school with the JEDI program. What I will say that we do have exclusion of is usually any school that is in transition of becoming a D3 school, whether it's coming from D2 or D1. So if you're in that phase, there's a process that we usually go about before you all are able to award. You usually have to finish that process first.
Great. And next question, if you applied for a grant and did not get the grant, is there a way to get feedback on why so that when applying again, they can make adjustments?
Absolutely. So whenever you all get the notification for the grant and you do not get it, simply just request the feedback through the email communication that you received it. And usually our staff will get back to you within usually a couple weeks, maybe a few weeks there. It always takes a little bit of time just with the timing of when we send out the notifications. But if you want the feedback, we'll get it to you so that you all have it to apply for the next cycle.
Awesome. Next question, does the NCAA consider HSI or Hispanic Service Institution standing at all in the review?
Yes, each institution is considered on a lot of different factors. One factor being an HSI as well. Again, the priorities is to enhance gender representation and ethnic minorities within Division III. So going into the application process, we're grading and looking at the application and how you all wrote it. But also there are some more, I would say, subjective factors that the committee will talk about. Sometimes the institution, what type of institution, where is the institution located? Sometimes where is leadership at, whether it's the president's office or athletic director transitions, different things like that.
Awesome. Next one we have, and I think the last one we have in here right now. First off, they give you a shout out. They said you've been very helpful over the years. But for schools awarded the matching grant, will the contract specify the amount the institution will be awarded from the NCAA, or is that amount already determined / set across the board?
Yes, Valerie and I have exchanged many emails. Need to connect at convention one day, Valerie. For schools awarded, will the forthcoming contract specify the amount that the institution will be awarded from the NCAA, or is that amount already determined and set across the board? So for the good question. So just to clarify what Valerie is talking about, the Strategic Alliance Matching Grant, we provide 75% of what the requested salary is in year one, 50% of what the requested salary is in year two, 25% of what the requested salary is in year three. The caveat is if the requested salary exceeds $55,000, that is where we would cap for year one. Then it goes into around $36,000 for year two. And then for year three, it's around $18,000. So to answer your question, Valerie, if your requested salary is below that maximum threshold of $55,000, it'll be specified in the contract of, by September of this date, the NCAA will provide X amount of dollars, which is 75% of the requested salary that you provided within the application.
All right, and while you were answering that, no new questions have come in, so we might be, just kidding. Oh, never mind, there's a thank you. So no new questions have come in, so I think we are good. Omar.